Hi, my name's Dave. I'm one of the ministers here at TCC, and it's great to have you joining us for our service today. It's our last day of the Noise Arts Festival. We've got this service to kind of wrap things up, and we've had a great week, haven't we, Richard?
Yeah, it's been a really fantastic week, and it's been great to see so many of you connecting with the events online or in person. I've loved the comedy nights, the music nights, and tonight there's also a film about the life of Billy Graham, really worth connecting in with that. 8 o'clock tonight on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and hopefully you would have seen one of the Noise kind of brochures that advertise all the events. You might think that you don't need this anymore, but it does advertise one other thing in here, Alpha. And there's a page in here. You can find all the details about Alpha. It's an opportunity to ask the big questions about life and about the Christian faith, and to find out what it's all about. And done in a really non-threatening way. You can ask whatever questions you like. You can do so with other people exploring similar questions or the same questions. And this year we're going to be running that on Zoom. We're doing it online so that you can stay home, so that we can stay COVID secure. And so just encourage you, if you want to do that, then the details are in the brochure, or you can email the address that's on your screen now.
Fantastic. One last thing just to mention, and we'd love to get these into your hands as well. If you'd like to connect with either Alpha or want to explore more about the Christian faith and Jesus, then we've got these Gospels of Mark to give away, which are just fantastically produced with the account of Jesus' life and pictures and all kinds of stuff. If you'd like to get one of these, we'll send one of these to you in the post for free. Just send an email to office@thebeacon.org. We're now going to start our service, and I'm going to hand over to the worship team for our celebration at the end of this fantastic week.
was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was not till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was not till I met you. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Sing now your mercy, and now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The only you, Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Come on, church, let's sing this out. I need rescue. I needed rescue. My sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was alone. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, power? Who brings the power of sin and darkness? Whose love is mighty and so much stronger? The King of glory, the King above all kings. Who shakes the whole earth with holy thunder? Who leaves us breathless in awe and wonder? The King of glory, the King above all kings. Oh, this is amazing grace. This is unfailing love. That you would take my place. That you would bear my cross. Oh, you would lay down your life. That I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Sing, who brings our chaos back into order? Who brings our chaos back into order? Who makes the orphans a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King above all kings. Who rules the nations with truth and justice? Shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. Sing it out, just make it praise. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love. That you would take my place. That you would bear my cross. Oh, you would lay down your life. That I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I'll sing for all that you've done for me. Let's sing, worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Sing, worthy. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love. That you would take my place. That you would bear my cross. Oh, you would lay down your life. That I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. All that you've done for that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. Oh, you would lay down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Jesus, we want to thank you for all that you've done for us. We thank you for taking our place. We thank you because of what you've done, we are free. We no longer carry the weight of our sin. Jesus, you took that to the cross. Jesus, we praise you in this place. We lift your name higher, Lord. We give you glory. We celebrate you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Mountains we praise, treasures of faith, never enough. Oh, then you came along and put me back together. Every desire's now satisfied here in your love. There's nothing better. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. You're the God of the mountain and the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Let's sing that again. There's nothing better. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh. better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Lord, we want to declare this morning there's nothing like being in your presence. We know that in the storms of life, you never leave us. Your presence is always with us in every step. Lord, thank you for that. Your promise is that you'll never leave us, you'll never forsake us. We want to pursue you every day, Lord. Praise you, Jesus. Thank you. Amen.
It's been a while. You've seen many trials, my child. The longer we stay here, the longer I wait. I'd wait a lifetime, a generation, a millennium. We've sat here too many times to count, but I never had any doubt. The landscape shifted about, but you flicked back on the light and hope entered the darkest of night. When you moved, we moved. When you ran, we followed. When you hid, we let you. When you fell, we caught what was left of you. You laughed and we tried. And when you cried and lied about being just fine, we put our armour on. The war was won. It's already been done. When you lay awake, praying the voices in your head will be silent. When you feel like I am silent, I never scream the loudest. You have to come and stand in my quiet. I live in the loudest parts of your life. Yet when you are alone, you don't come to my throne. You grab your phone and scroll through comments, not having to admit that you're feeling alone. I gave for you, slaved for you, made myself a fleshy mess for you. I am willing to wrestle the demons off of you. I stepped in so you can tap out. This is not a season of drought, so why do you constantly doubt? You are chosen to walk the road less travelled, for such a time as this, for such a place as this, for such a mess as this. So jump up. We have work to do.
Knit me in my mother's womb, but fear was lurking, trying to consume. One child had died, the next had arrived, but fear was there, would she survive? A quiet child, shy and calm, meant for healing, a healing balm. But God's purpose was not seen, lives not as they should have been. The mother's pain out of control. But as she grew, the fear took hold, always doing as she was told. No one listened or seemed to care. Bullies moved in as they dared. From fear to anger, the root took hold. An adult now, a family of her own, but what of her is really known? Too scared to tell, too scared to share. What would they think, or even care? But God stepped in, his light took hold, and now for once she felt bold. It would take time, but God would heal his precious child, his purpose fulfilled. Yes, that child was me, and I have to say I spent probably 2/3 of my life being fearful, worried about what people thought, worried about would they accept me, would I make a mistake, would I say the wrong thing? And that sort of grew into me wanting to be everybody else, wanting to be Pam because she was amazing at flowers and different things, or Helen who could share her testimony just like that. And in all of this, I lost my identity, I lost who I was, lost sight of the fact that actually I am a child of God. I was chosen by Jesus. He stands with me. He enables me. He leads me through. And that's a thing I think a lot of us struggle with, the fact that actually when we come to him, when we become that child of God, we become a new creation, and we're supposed to put down what was the past and just step into that amazing plan in Jeremiah where he says, I have a plan for you. It's a plan to prosper you, not to bring you harm. It's to give you hope and a future. And too often we lose sight of that fact. You see, our past shapes us, but it doesn't define our future. And if we step into that future, my goodness, it's amazing. Jesus has been amazing to me. He's taken me on mission, and he's taken me into things and doing things I could never have imagined. And I know that without him, there would be an amazing big hole in my life. Just turn to him and let him reveal your future.
Now, a couple of years ago, the Daily Mail done a survey of 2,000 of their readers, asking them the question, who would make their ideal dinner guest list? They could choose from people from the last 30 years of popular culture, and the results are now in. It's important to know what would be on the dinner table. It would, of course, be a Sunday roast with crumble and custard and a side dish of creme brulee. Lovely dinner. But who's on the guest list? Well, we have Dame Judi Dench, Maggie Smith, Dawn French, Peter Kay, Brian Cox, Mary Berry, Helen Mirren, Tim Peake, David Attenborough and Prince Harry. And the article concludes saying this: the guest list provides all the key ingredients for a successful dinner party with charm, charisma, knowledge and more than a hint of sophistication. It's great to see that the British public values strong characters with personality, wit and wisdom over celebrity status and sex appeal. The least likely to be invited, with only 1% of the survey coming back, was Tony Blair, Madonna and Brad Pitt. I wonder who would be at your dinner table. I want to share with you a moment in Scripture where we find Jesus gathered around a dinner table, and he uses it as an opportunity to teach some things to those that are gathered, and it's going to be helpful for us today. It's found in Luke 14, and it's verses 1 to 6 that we're going to read together first. It says this: one Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There in front of him was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of the body. Jesus asked the Pharisees and experts in the law, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? But they remained silent. So, taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. Then he asked them, if one of you has a child or an ox that's fallen into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull them out? And they had nothing to say. I wonder if Jesus would be on your guest list for a dinner party. Why did this man that's holding this party that we've just read about invite all of these great people? So we've got this man here who needs to be healed. He's got an abnormal swelling of the body. He's suffering, and he's been so for quite some time. Then there's the Pharisees, the religious leaders of the day. And then we have Jesus. I wonder, in this mix of people, who felt the most awkward there at the time. We could say maybe why Jesus was invited. Well, Jesus was like the celebrity of the day. He was causing crowds to gather. He challenged people. And so perhaps this man holding this party said, okay, I need to have Jesus at this meal, because then I'll be the talk of the town. I'll get the celebrity of the day. And maybe this guy that I've known, he's suffering. I'll get him along. I'll give him some food, and everything could be all right. And it's an interesting guest list. I wonder if actually the man who was suffering was even known by the host? Did the man who was suffering know what was going on? Did he know that Jesus was going to be at the meal? Did he know that these Pharisees were going to be there as well? Or did he just want some food? We find out why he's been invited. Because actually I think he sat there confused and rather awkward. Because ultimately he was there to trap Jesus. He was there to snare what Jesus would say, and the Pharisees who were carefully watching Jesus would have something to say. You see, Jesus, as a guest at a dinner party, causes a stir. He mixes things up. He challenges the normal formal guidelines of the day. He heals this man when the Pharisees are thinking this is not allowed on the Sabbath day, and yet Jesus goes beyond that. He causes them to sit in silence at this dinner party. He gets their attention and he asks them a question that they do not know how to respond. You see, when you have Jesus at the dinner table of your party, it's not just a space filled, an empty chair taken. You get a challenge of how to live your life. And the guests weren't really expecting that to happen. They weren't expecting what Jesus was going to do next. A trap was set for Jesus and it had been sprung, and all of the guests had been catapulted into this trap as well. They hadn't factored in that Jesus would address each of them on a personal level. And so Jesus at your dinner party will challenge you. Will ask you to do things outside of the norm, to change the way that you live. I wonder if you would like Jesus at your dinner table. Let's just read on from verses 7 through to 11. When he noticed how the guests picked the places of honour at the table, he told them this parable. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honour. For a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host who has invited both of you will come and say to you, give this person your seat. Then, humiliated, you would have to take the least important place. You know, the table by the kitchen. But when you are invited, take the lowest place. And when the host comes, he will say to you, friend, move up to a better place. Then you will be honoured in the presence of all the other guests. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. You don't just get to watch Jesus. Those who had come to see what would happen, to see how this trap would be sprung, those that had come just to get some free food, to see the celebrity of the day, the truth is, you can't get close to Jesus without being challenged by him in some way or the other. And the guests were surprised at how he addressed them. Jesus turns to his focus, the host of the event, knowing that he'd been set up. But he turns this moment around to an opportunity to talk to them, to relate to them, to challenge them. Luke 14 verses 12 to 15 says this. Then Jesus said to the host, when you give a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or your sisters, your relatives or your rich neighbours. If you do, they may invite you back and you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. When one of those at the table heard this, he said to Jesus, blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God. Jesus explains to the host of this meal, it's not about the guest list. It's not about those that you honour, because they can return it. Instead, invite people who cannot return the favour. And what about the last guy? What about that guy that's kind of just said, blessed are those that eat in the kingdom? I can imagine him sat there leaned back in his chair, gnawing on a chicken leg, because of course they're having a Sunday traditional roast. Bit of gravy kind of just dripping down his chin. And then he says, well, you know, those who eat in the kingdom are well and truly blessed. I think he's mildly confident that he's referring to himself. He believes that this meal is for him. And at that moment, actually, Jesus' heart sinks. And he realises he's got a lot more to say to these guys as well. You see, the conversation never dries up with Jesus at the table. So, what can we get from this? The invitation that Jesus has responded to, this snapshot of this meal that we're reading here today, points us a couple of things. Firstly, you cannot trap Jesus. Secondly, you cannot simply just observe him. If you come too close to Jesus, he will challenge you, whether that's reading the Bible or spending time just getting to know him, he will challenge you. And thirdly, you can't invite him into your life, to your dinner party, and not expect to be challenged and changed and have your way of thinking turned upside down. But to that last person to speak, Jesus has something else to say. Luke 14, verses 15 to 24. Jesus replied, a certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, come, for everything is ready now. But they all alike began to make their excuses. The first said, I have just brought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me. Another said, I have just brought 5 yoke of oxen. I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me. Still another said, I just got married. I cannot come. The servant came back and reported this to the master. The owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, go out quickly to the streets and alleyways of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind and the lame. Sir, the servant said, what you have ordered has already been done, but there is still room. Then the master told his servant, go out into the roads and the country lanes and compel them to come, so that my house will be full. I tell you not one of those who are invited will get a taste of my banquet. This parable that Jesus teaches, there's a couple of things for us to think about just today that's pretty kind of obvious at the beginning. The man's response provokes Jesus to say this story. Jesus is not just talking about another man's party. He's talking about the kingdom. He's talking about something not of this world that we can be part of. So who are these characters? Well, the first thing in this parable here is the man hosting this party that sends out this invitation is God. The invitation to this party, to this banquet, is to the whole of humanity. And the invitation is not just to a party. It's something much bigger, something much more longer lasting. It's into the belonging of God. It's to become part of his family. You know, the theme for the festival this year has been Jubilee. You know, Jubilee in the Bible is a year of celebration where captive people are freed, debts are written off, and land is returned. A taste of restoration, forgiveness, and new hope. A taste of the kingdom, a taste of what God wants this world, what the future of humanity can be when we're invited to join with him. You see, Jesus doesn't just come with a get out of free jail card. It's not like, oh, you know, I live my life my way, and then when I'm on my deathbed, I'll say sorry to God, and then, you know, he'll welcome me in. And I can get into heaven kind of in the back way, kind of through the smoker's alley. Jesus has actually come for us right now. He's come to give us life in all of its fullness right now. We're told that this banquet is going to be great. It's not your run-of-the-mill finger buffet. It's not even a garden party at Buckingham Palace. It's something so much more. Jesus says, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. You see, life in its fullness is something that can start now for those that respond to the invitation. Do you feel that your life is full right now? Do you feel a fullness within you? Truth is that life is tough. 2020 has taught us that everything that we once held dear can be stripped away. Our health, our possessions, our jobs, friends, family. And the truth is that whether we know Jesus or not, we've all had to face that ourselves. Life is tough, but with Jesus, there's something just a little bit more. That emptiness that we find in ourselves can be made full. But with Jesus, we discover that we are loved and we are accepted, and he made us who we are. He loves our quirky little characters, the things that people are trying to change, or perhaps you want to change yourself, that funny little laugh that you've got. Jesus loves that little laugh that you have got. And perhaps with him in your life and understanding that relationship between you and God helps you to discover how you can build healthy relationships with other people. You see, with Jesus there is more. That's why the banquet is described as bountiful. A grand feast that goes beyond far what this world has to offer, and it's for all people. But what about the excuses? It's really interesting that when Jesus talks about this passage, that there's people that respond with excuses not to go to that meal. The first one is this: I have brought a field and I'm going to go and have a look at it. Who buys anything without looking at it? Well, if you watch Homes Under the Hammer, that can be quite a regular occurrence, and that's a naughty moment. They always tell you to go and look before you buy those things. But this guy is going to look at his field when it's getting dark. Secondly, I have bought some animals to help me with my work. Again, do you really need to go and see them? Now, this guy has bought these animals without looking at them, without acknowledging if they're able to do the work or not. Why can't he wait till tomorrow? Thirdly, I've just got married. Well, when? What, just 5 minutes ago? Or was it that weekend or that week ago? Why can't you bring your wife with you to this meal? When we think about it, these are some pretty naff reasons. But when we chew them over, they actually tackle some deeper things. The things in life that perhaps we put ourselves before getting to know Jesus. Before understanding his invitation, what it means for us. We place other things in it. Firstly, materialism. I've just brought this. I've just brought this field. This is the thing that's important for me now. What I own. What do I value? Work. I want to work harder, and I want to look longer. I want to be more ambitious. I want to get to that place of honour. Thirdly, relationships. I want to pursue the relationship first with that person that I fancy, that person that I'm pursuing. I want to explore that first before I understand who Jesus is. All of these people in this story, all these excuses come up, miss the truth of who Jesus can be for us, the difference that he can make in all of these areas, that he can bring fulfillment in each one of those places. Loads of people will claim to have been invited and may wander around with the invitation to something in their pocket, but they never go to the event. They don't reply to it. They haven't tasted what is on offer. And the warning is that they will miss out. The invitation for us from Jesus at this meal table to us right now is we need to RSVP. Let's not miss out. And so I just want to say to you at the this festival service today, what we've been celebrating about all the goodness that God offers is the invitation is available today. What will you do with it? Will you stick it in your back pocket or reject it completely with something else? I've got to deal with this first. I've got to sort this issue out. I'll tell you what, the issues in life never resolve themselves. There's always something coming up. What about if you explored Jesus first? What about if you gave your life to him and then tackled those other issues with him beside you? Will you have an excuse, or will you embrace the challenging guest that Jesus is at your table? And perhaps you've kind of acknowledged a bit of that today, that right now as you're listening to this, it's a bit like having Jesus as a guest with you, and you've realised as you've got to him, as you heard his words, he's challenging you. Will you receive the invitation? Will you take hold of the fullness that's on offer, embrace the kingdom that Jesus talks about, that there's more to life than just this?
I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. His body bound and drenched in tears, he laid him down in Joseph's tomb, the entrance sealed by heavy stone, Messiah still and all alone. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you've really enjoyed the service. And thank you to everyone that's taken part, that's contributed to the service. But as well, thank you to everybody that's worked so hard, including Richard and his team, and putting the Noise Arts Festival together. Although it is a very different festival to what we're used to, it's still great to have all those different events taking place, both in the community and in our homes. So thank you for all of you. I hope you enjoyed them, if you were able to take part in them. Just a quick reminder, if you want one of these Gospels, then we can get one of these out to you. Just simply email us, we'll make sure we get one of these to you. As well, if you're interested in Alpha, you can email the same email address and register your interest for that, to ask those big questions about life and about the Christian faith. Hope to see you all soon. God bless. See you later.